thank you for joining today. Just here to share some thoughts on further improving safety and efficiency in your organizations. As we, I think, previously discussed, there's this kind of domains going on. Everything should be digital, lean approaches, reducing waste, always looking around you, what can be improved. And also this continuous focus on zero incident, zero accident and pollution. So if you look at the combinations and the overlap, so where do you see these things strengthening each other? Do you see them also conflicting sometimes? What do you see happening in your side?
In principle, I think if you look at zero incidents, whether I think that it is possible, it's actually I think it is possible to have zero incidents related to, for instance, safety, quality, or other forms of waste. Although I know that it is very hard to achieve it. And there are multiple ways of influencing it. I think the most recent years, I more and more believe that the digitalization can be part of it. Formerly, I thought, digitalization, it's only maybe putting into systems what people are already doing and these kind of things. But I'm more and more, I'm sure that it helps. It helps to not forget the things you have to take into account. And I even think that by using digitization, digital solutions, it will not cause that people stop thinking. I think that is one of the biggest threats. I thought that there was if you have only digitized that what you are doing, that people stop thinking, and that's actually absolutely not the case. And if the people do not stop thinking, but they make use of the tools, then they also stop forgetting things that we think that is really important. And that there, I think digitization helps. If I combine it then with lean, every incident is of course a loss. A loss of time, a loss of ability of a person, or loss of product, what is very hard to repair. And if you see how much effort you have to put into things that went wrong, then that's absolutely not lean. If I combine lean and digitization, I think it is a really nice combination. You see that extra work for checking, or extra work for checking a lot of checklists instead of only using one checklist that is suited for the job. Or thinking out yourself what all kinds of things you have to check before you can start work or before you can start a change. Their digitization really helps. And also actually in closing the loop. If you want to close the loop, you want to learn, do some second loop learning of all the things you did. There also digital solutions help. So there is a combination. And what I said in the beginning, more and more I'm aware that digital solutions are an important part for achieving lean and achieving zero.
I sometimes see that that if you start to unbother people with all these kind of standard things that they have to do every day, you can create a little room for more creativity. Right, and allowing them to sometimes really freely check. So what could we do different here? And if they're just caught up in the everyday hustle and bustle, and we're always putting out fires, and it's really hard to get into a modus of even asking yourself, what can we do different tomorrow? And I think for me that can help, right? From the one side, to just basically automate stuff that you would normally forget or would have to fill in. And that's like really the first layer of getting something digital. Hopefully that creates a little bit of like free space, opens creativity to actually say, okay, this is what we need to do better. Let's prioritize, let's think about it, let's do something together. And I think then from digitizing could also provide you with the data and information that you actually need to pinpoint your attention. You know, what are the things we need to like focus on? That I think that helps, because otherwise, you know, getting to zero is a very, very big goal. If you kind of slice it up into lots of little improvements, and you know, maybe never ending, but it's still a step every day.
Yeah, that's correct, and it's also the small steps you make. For instance, if people get used to the tools and also used to, for instance, you have to for a certain job you need a certain type of a piece of equipment. Then until now, people were always should remember what type of equipment that is. Should, for instance, if you need a cutter or whatever, that it should have an automatic stop or an anti-kickback or etc. etc. So people got used actually to use the tools, and so that they are helped to check, for instance, on safety points. Then if they are used to it, then suddenly they see, hey, this is not in yet. This is not in yet. If we can put this in, then somebody else does not forget it. And they actually come up with proposals. Yeah, if these things are already in, then we can also put other ideas in. If we have that kind of step, then also we should add that person in that step, just to be sure that we take the safe corner before we start. I see that actually with happening with a lot of people, and they making the smaller steps. And so that's actually maybe more copying of what's already in, but then for different equipment or for a different step or for a different job. And they do not immediately make the big analysis in okay, what can we improve more? No, they do the really continuous improvement, the step by step and incremental improvements. I see that it helps us, and that the system's open enough to add that, and people see a quick response to their proposals. Then it really stimulates to take next steps.
Yeah, so basically, if you, in this case, if you're describing like proposed changes to your plant or your organization, and there's like more flow in it, and so instead of you having to wait for ages and getting a response and maybe yes, maybe no, the fact that there's actually flow triggers more ideas.
People see they are taken serious, especially when it is about safety-related issues, and you can pick it up and you can build it in quite fast. Yeah, they're really stimulated to take additional steps also.
If you start moving from just being busy and carrying out your daily task, and also getting people get in this continuous improvement mode and thinking every day, so how's my process? What's happening today? What are the steps that you guys have done to actually get this more normal practice?
I think you have to do a lot of activities. I think what helped within DSM, that we started the DICI journey, so the DSM integrated continuous improvement. That helps. It gives everybody the same base in how we do things, and they what I really like is that it is about standardization of the way you do things. But then based on the maturity level. And so if you have a low maturity level, you implement different things, and you already have a higher maturity level. And these continuous improvement journeys, they take you by the hand, and they let you make the steps that you can take at that time. But on the other hand, this is also focusing on mindset and behavior. practices and mindset and behavior come together, it gives results which in the end will end up with high performance teams and with very good results. It's not only about organizing meetings or organizing some checklist or putting some post-its on the board with ideas. Now you really have to also invest in people behavior, stimulate actually the good results and help them to change other results. That's a journey already for years, and I think it will never it will never end. You have to put effort in it. And actually, what happens then if you tackle, for instance, within a Kaizen. And I think a couple of years ago, we had a Kaizen on work permits, and you see then actually that the analysis you do and the red flags you put onto the paper, and that then suddenly you see that where you are struggling with, that it is partly already solved by digital solutions. Everybody becomes very enthusiastic to embrace all those digital solutions. It's not that the solution is brought by, hey, this is a solution for your problem. No, we actually when you do the Kaizen in the right way, one of the solutions will be the digital form, and of course you more or less know that it is there. But if you can make that connection, you have a lot of people on board in embracing these solutions, and then it goes fast.
No, that's what I see. That's also, I think, some of the magic in the Kaizen is that the teams start to work with it. They take something that is maybe of a standard mold, but they're still allowed to work the clay until it's a practice, that might be within the standard, but it's still, their version of the standard. And that can be small things like the proper wording for things, in control measures or in checklists, or the things that have meaning for the local site. And that, of course, are from a safety or an efficiency perspective are exactly the same at every plant around the world, but it has special meaning. Special words have meaning, and if you can represent that in their system, I think that's part of the journey in connecting, getting that, and giving people the ability to do that actually themselves. I think that kind of helps.
And people are also asking for it. When they, for instance, first saw the step you could make by implementing tools for work permits, and the step they made, and how they love to work with it, and that if there is then another challenge, they say, yeah, actually we like to have the same step that we made then. And then on this subject, for instance, and that can be on low to toe or overriding or MOCs, or we would like to actually to repeat the step that we made when we went from paper to a digital solution, and how we did that, and the gain we had, and the fun we had with implementing it, and the fun we have with the results. Yeah, we also like that for that challenge.
Yeah,
and then the people ask for that, and then it is really digital solutions connected with the challenge the group has, the challenge that the company has, and when you can bring that together, there the magic happens.
So if we look at that latest thing that we did together, doing together actually, because we're not finished yet. In digitizing changes, MOCs. So what kind of value creation are you looking for with tackling this topic? What is the things you see as, okay, this is blocking us in terms of waste, I would like to see more of this. What for you are the key value items that should be created?
The things what we experienced until now, and what was also really important, it's actually for us first time right. At the way we did MOC, it was difficult for us to track the progress. or to be in time after approval, that we close it, or that we did all safety studies we had to do, all these kind of things. So we saw a lot of repair work. And we also in tracking the progress. We have quite a big site, and sometimes we have maybe between 30 or 40 of those changes open. But always always you have to put energy in it to control where are we. Are we on time? Did we? Was there a proper startup check? Was that organized? Was that organized? And the system we had gave the room to not execute or not fill in, or also not to be responsible. That's also one of the important gains, is that it is always clear who is responsible, who should take the next step. And if you do that in a paper way, you can only doing by checking the papers whether the right person made the right step. It really pushes everybody into in process to take ownership and responsibility for their steps, and there you help safety. So you help safety in that, and you waste less time, and it creates transparency. It's transparency. We do not. Everybody can see who has open things. So that creates transparency, and transparency is not wrong.
And you also already mentioned, like, if people have a serious follow-up of the ideas they generate, and of course, there's a check already in the beginning. But if people bring in proposed changes that can have an effect on efficiency or effectiveness, safety, and then it's taken seriously, then they're more likely to generate more ideas, right?
Absolutely. For instance, in this case, I think that quite fast, I think already within implementation, people came up with, if I get an action, then it would also be nice to have a trigger in my mailbox. They are used to that, for instance, for digital tool we use in safety actions, or that they can easily see what are my open activities.
Do you think if this process is managed properly with all the follow-up and more towards flow, that you'll do more changes?
I think the threshold is lower. People first they have to get used to the system. The first times that they use the system, it takes some extra time. But since the threshold is low, and you also have the opportunity of doing simple changes. So that's not full-fledged. But if you already select in the beginning that these are simple changes, you can also do closing the loop is also much easier. So I hope, and I did not see it, but I also hope that will happen. It's easier for us to stimulate that people use the MOC process for the changes. I think before we implemented this, we had a kind of changes book for the not so big things. At least it is in the book, and we could decide whether it was full-fledged MOC was necessary or not. But at least we had it in the book, so we could check the book. And now the book is not necessary anymore because the people that put in changes can quite easy put in changes into the system, and then it will run. So yes, I hope so. I did not see it yet.
No, I think that's also kind of interesting, because we of course mapping with your organization, okay, what's happening in the total flow, in the total process, and you could actually see the hiccups, right? Because you can see in a certain stage where, for example, things need to be checked by an expert, you see this inventory rising, because things are coming in, they're guided through, they're associated checklist and checks are allocated, but then they still need to happen. And then it's kind of where you see, okay, maybe we should allocate more resources in this step, checking engineering capabilities to check, but you can actually visually see, okay, this is the holdup currently. No, but I was just wondering, and it's just really an open question, would that be an ambition to do more changes?
No, you should always do the right changes. So it is good that we have the discussion, and whether it, especially when it impacts safety, for instance, if you make new choices. You see it, for instance, when maintenance is most of the time is like for like, and then suddenly a supplier does not supply it anymore, and we take the alternative. Until now, it was quite easy not to do the full-fledged MOC, but we will stimulate with the new system more and more that these changes are also executed. What you were telling about that it is piling up for some people. I think in the past, people also did not execute that. But in the end, maybe MOCs were closed, but the expert did not agree or did not gave their go, because now they are officially responsible for it. If they make the next step, they put their signature on it, and it feels different for people. I'm quite happy with that. That people feel responsible for the decisions they take, and that's not additional, but I think it will benefit safety and also the quality of the change.
I think one of the things we see both in lean and in digitizing is that there's always like a focus on a standardization. So how do you decide whether to further standardize something? So what's your trigger? Okay, we should really standardize more, be more detailed, or at a certain level maybe say, okay, this is about where we can create benefits from it. Do you have like a mind map for that?
Yeah, where I see it most actually when it is safety related, we easily decide to standardize and not leave it open for interpretation. What I mentioned before, if it is about tools and there are certain rules or regulations around those tools, they will put this information in. Or that for instance, in the MOC, we have to do some checks we did not do before. For instance, ISO 14001 environmental checks, we did not had it in, and it is important, but we do not use it very often or whatever. It is easy to forget. There, we really like to standardize. On the other hand, we also try to prevent that we have excessive number of checks in the checklist. They should be focused on where they are meant for, and for the rest, we can use the mind of people to do the right things.
No, because we also see it. For example, I think these are great examples, and we see. Especially, for example, whilst working with new Lototo implementations, right? This creates a very detailed level of standardization, because then we do the checks, right? We go into Kaizen and we bring a couple of shifts together, and we say, okay, now let's look at these Loto plans for the same equipment, but now carried out by different shifts. And of course, these things can really differ, not only in the items that are actually isolated, but although, for example, the method of the tryout or the activities that are described in the Unloto. So, there we see more and more that the goal is to maybe look at the 200, 300 most serviced equipment, and really standardize at a really, really deep level through shifts, through production teams, and say this is how we do things, right? And not slightly different, but it's exactly in this order with these activities. And of course, if there's like a thing that you never touch, it doesn't really make sense to already standardize on it, right? You can be reactive. It will standardize when we start to work on it. And I think that's also happening a lot with the DSM sites. That's kind of the next layer, becoming even more detailed at those kinds of things.
But there you still have to build in that people continue to think.
Yeah.
Because if the reason for Lototo is slightly different, and you use a load-to-tow system what was meant or built for some other activity, it's quite easy to make mistakes there.
Exactly, you can do several things to the same pump, and have them isolated in a different way. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And that's actually, yeah, we still have a paper form or an Excel form for the load-to-tow. The more complex ones related to a stop of a reactor, etc., etc. But still, then you always have to think it over. And bring it over and put your own name on it. Put your 4 eyes principles on it. Stop thinking in certain instances can become dangerous, and that's how to standardize and still have and stimulate that people continue to think.
Yeah, I think sometimes it has to do with the ability to ingrain, even if you're standardizing more and more and more, to always have these moments when people ask, what is different in this situation, right?
Yep.
And have that kind of moment when it's like a formal decision. It's nice that I have something, nice that I don't have to start from scratch, but then how now do I work it? Or just ask myself, what is different today? I think that, if you can get that going, but it's also requires proactive thinking.
Yeah, people still need to know what they are doing. These are important steps. It is really obvious that these are part of the life-saving rules. If you see that those are life-saving rules, and there is still a lot of interpretation possible.
Yeah,
that's sometimes when I wake up and at night, then I suddenly these are the things that frightens me. So that they are really important steps to take, whether it is work permitting, MOC, load-to-tow, override, etc., etc. Really easy see that if you do these things wrong, it can have a tremendous impact on people or on equipment.
And do you also see, like a side topic, but so relevant through some other customers now working with, they see aging population in the workforce. They see sometimes, to be fully knowledgeable as an operator, you need maybe 1.5, 2 years in a certain section of the plant to fully understand and all these decisions that we're now talking about, to really be confident in taking these decisions. But it takes like maybe then a couple of years to fully train people and to get them to the level where a number of these people are now at. Do you see this like the same topic also for your side, and any suggestion how to solve it?
We see the same, and it's always for us. There's also a struggle. What do you put in your SOPs? Are your SOPs simple to use? Do you understand why you are doing the things? And by just picking up the SOPs, go into the factory and do what is written down in the SOP will not always give the right activity. So you still have to learn it from your colleagues. What I see on the other hand is that those most of the times those are our somewhat younger operators. They easy embrace actually also digital tools. They work with it in a different way, more flexible. They see it less strict, but more as a support in their activity. And so they much easier take their mobile phone to look at a video of some instead of maybe running through the SOPs. Also, the older operators do not always know exactly what is in the SOPs. So that's especially not for the daily routine jobs. They also hardly know it anymore. Yeah. So bringing actually the knowledge of more conventional, more older operators into systems, a lot of possibilities there. you see that the younger operators quite easy learn from it, and the historical 2 or 3 years education, that it's becoming less and less. So because they more easily use tools, and they understand the important steps and do their checks. So I think it will learning and also guidance in what people do in the factory will change. You more and more will go to a pump and you have to operate it. You scan the QR code on the pump. You select your SOP. You get a video of what you have to do there, and you execute it. And if you are really lucky, you have glasses on where it is presented what you have to do. Those videos and those animations and presentations are much more better than all the written words that are in the more old-fashioned SOPs. So I see there a tremendous change in the way people learn and in how they work day by day near to the pump. What we mentioned, and somebody did that half a year ago, and they have to do it again. Then see it visually on a video it's much easier, brings back what you have to do than if you read some paper. So I think we more and more and then we better understand how people learn and how people are supported. But we do not always feel confident if we do not have all the numbers of the valves and all the numbers of the safety valves or whatever in the paper, that we lose something. If something goes wrong, then we should go back to, okay, what was written down. Yeah, that's not how it works anymore.
Now it's interesting. So it's another way of capturing knowledge, and then location based or whatever based, giving it back to the people that need it. I think there's also a lot to do there still.
Yeah, we see that also. When, for instance, recently we had an incident, and then everybody describes how he's normally executing that cleaning job, but actually only the movie triggered the real discussion, and then they see it. Yeah.
Great. Thank you very much.